Hi everyone, I welcome you all to our tech podcast series. And today I am Chavi, your podcaster of the day, and we would be talking about NGOs and about women entrepreneurship. Now you would be thinking, what's today, what's with today, and also who's our special guest today. So today we have a very special guest. We have Geetanjali with us, who is the founder and president at Wishes and Blessings. This is an NGO which is doing some very incredible work in the like outside. As if I talk about the NGO, right now it has more than 15 centers across Delhi NCR, and the work that right now done by Wishes and Blessings is really incredible. So let's hear about how these things happen, and let's understand more about the NGO and stuff from Gitanjali. So with that note, I welcome you, Gitanjali, to our today's podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, Chavi. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm also doing great. First of all, before starting up, we would love to know how you started your journey and how is it going on in the present time.
So, Wishes and Blessings is something I started 8.5 years ago on the 25th of April 2014, to be precise. One word to describe the journey is roller coaster. It's been a very, very adventurous ride with a whole lot of highs and lows, learnings, misgivings, a lot of blessings, a lot of wishes, and on the whole, a very, very wholesome journey. I am not a trained development sector person. Neither have I done any courses in management or training or running organizations. On the contrary, I'm a trained academic. I'm a PhD holder, so that's why the name Doctor as a prefix before my name. And Wishes and Blessings is something that happened just by chance. Way back in 2014, when I was working with Center for Policy Research, CPR Delhi, as a fellow, I just happened to go and play Holi with visually impaired children. And that was one, life-changing event for me, because it was at that point of time I realized that, how superficial everything else really was in the world that we were living. And I experienced unadulterated joy playing Holi with children who were 95 to 100% visually impaired. And I often say that visually impaired children gave me my vision for my life. And I was working full time when I first played Holi with these kids. And within about, I think, a month after playing Holi with them, I established Wishes and Blessings. And there's been no stopping after that.
That sounds incredible, I would say. And obviously, I also agree with this point that sometimes, unexpected things and something that happen, just like this, are really amazing, and the output is fabulous indeed. So, with that, when you started your journey, how was it? Were you alone, or you had a team with you who motivated you to get started with the NGO?
So when I first started in 2014, I was all by myself. I was actually employed full time by Center for Policy Research, but my boss there was very, very understanding. And when I, shared what I wanted to do, he gave me full freedom to do what I wanted to. And of course, I had to kind of wrap up what I was doing at that point of time, which included writing a book, the various projects that I was involved in. So it took me 2 full years to actually, complete everything at CPR and then move on to Wishes and Blessings full time. So for the first 1.5 years, it was just me. And slowly and steadily, we started adding to the team. Today, we have our headquarters in Delhi, operations in 6 states, presence in more than 11 states, and we have old age homes in Delhi and in Vrindavan. We have operations in Jharkhand, an office in Jharkhand. So slowly and steadily, the team has increased, and here we are today.
That was really great to hear that, and the expansion is incredible indeed. So, when it as you just mentioned that you started it by your own, so was it difficult? What were the challenges that that you have faced? Because like various people say that when it comes to NGOs, there are politics and a lot of things. So was it difficult for you to get started with it?
So, well, Chavi, I'll just say what is easy in life. I think struggles and challenges are a part of every journey. Yes, in some, they're more profound than in others. And if I look back at my journey, yes, there were several challenges. But I think the biggest challenge that I faced is something that I like to call that of trust deficit. The whole concept of building trust, of gaining trust of people. And mind you, this is not just people who want to donate money, it's not just for donors. The trust deficit was more so when it came to beneficiaries. For example, when I was setting up my first old age home, it was supposed to be an old age home only for women. And when the field workers were on the field, when I was on the field, spreading awareness, looking for people who needed such facilities, I was often told that सिर्फ औरतों को क्यों लेना है, ऐसा क्या करोगे? So the mindset was such that you don't only have to prove yourself and your worth to the donors who support your organization by donating, but also towards the beneficiaries whom you want to help. So and in addition to that, NGOs, like in our society, don't have a very positive image, and rightly so, because there have been several incidences where people have misused NGOs and have formed NGOs for I don't even know how to put it, but just to convert money black into white, hawala, and just misusing funds and so on and so forth. So, when you say that you're from an NGO, the first look is that of skepticism, and only then do people look beyond that. So, I think building trust has been the biggest challenge.
Exactly, and I would be really glad if you could put some light on this point that you just mentioned about the money part. Like, obviously, the frauds used to happen, there's black money, white money thing. So, put some light on these pointers.
Well, I don't think I'm equipped enough to put any light on any such issue, but I think all this is a part of our society, and the challenge is to accept it, work towards it, and try to stay away from it as much as you can. And I mean, you have a end of the day, we all have a reputation to maintain, and more than the reputation, it's actually facing yourself in the mirror. I always say that the biggest test one can put herself or himself to is to look into the mirror at the end of a day. So if you could actually do that, you're on the right path and you have nothing to be sorry or ashamed or scared of.
Exactly, exactly, agree. Now, with that, like when it comes to NGOs and like women entrepreneurship, learning a lot of things, like can you please share your favorites, like any incident that was your favorite till now that you felt that okay, this is the only reason that I'm working like on my NGO, not on any of the full time job or anything else.
I think there are lots of stories, lots of incidents, and there can't just be one particular one. But if I was to really pinpoint, I would still not be able to pinpoint to just one. So here I'll just share a story, which is one of my personal favorites and one of the many reasons that I do what I do. So way back when I had started in 2014. Um, in about April. So in by the end of the year 2014, we had kind of identified this one place I wanted to adopt and develop, as a center, and that was a Ren Basera at the night shelters at Nizamuddin. And I started going there. We did a cleanliness drive. We started doing basic education, giving food, socializing the children, making them school ready, and so on and so forth. And during one of these, like routine visits, I used to try and do field visits almost 4 to 5 days a week. At that point of time, there was this one particular girl I was, extremely fond of. Ashna was her name, and she was also very fond of me. So every time I would go, she would just cling on to my finger and she would not leave me till the time I left. And sometimes it got a little annoying because you had an agenda, you had to do things, and this little kid would not let you do anything, so she would just hold on. And I remember that one particular day I'd gone to the center, and this center was right next to the Dargah and very close to Sai Mandir in Lodi Road. And, when I just did a surprise visit, and I saw some of the children begging on the street. And I got very upset with them because, here we were trying to give them um, socialized life, trying to introduce them to education, keep them away from begging, from theft. And this is exactly what they were doing. So I went to the center and I was pretty livid, and I was giving a piece of my mind, to the children there that, this is not on. And in case you continue doing this, I'm not going to be back. And it was a very serious conversation. And I think I'm a very expressive person that way. And while talking, I tend to move my hands and all of it. And I remember when I was so upset, and I had both my hands on my waist, and I was, giving these kids a piece of my mind. And suddenly there was a huge giggle. And, I got even more upset, and I was like, here I am scolding you, and you guys are laughing. And so this one kid who was sitting in front of me, she just pointed towards my back. And when I moved back, I saw that little Ashna was just standing behind me in exactly the same pose that I was standing. And and I really did not know how to react. So I was like, what do you think you're doing? Aap kya kar rahe hain? So she said, मैं आप बनना चाहती हूँ. अगर मैं वही करूंगी जो आप करते हैं, तो मैं आप बन जाऊंगी. And that gave me goosebumps then, and it's giving me goosebumps now, because it just made me realize that there are these little children who don't know what life holds for them, and they look up to you as a role model. So when somebody expects you or looks up to you as a role model, I think the responsibility on your shoulder becomes multiplies like how. So, every time I falter, every time I feel that I'm not on the right path or something is going wrong, all I need to do is to look back at little Ashna. I have a little picture of her and me on my desk. And, I look back, and she gives me inspiration to carry on, because I know somewhere, somehow, somebody is getting influenced by what I do. So I better do my job right.
That was really inspiring as well at the same time, because it was not just a story to hear, but a story to get inspired with as well. So I really loved it personally. So, we talked on a lot of things, and also you have some amazing educational qualification at the same time. So would love to know that has your qualification helped, your educational qualifications helped you in your NGO building?
I think education is one thing that never goes waste. So I started off with a BA in journalism. I ended up, eventually led to a master's, which led to an MPhil, did a whole lot of diploma courses in between, and then finally a PhD. And then when I, finally decided to leave it all and start an NGO and do social work, a lot of people had raised eyebrows and, skepticism, saying कि इतना पढ़े क्यों, इतना पढ़ाई क्यों किया अगर यही करना था. And then I always say that education is something that helps you every single day. So I can't really say what I learned about international security or diplomacy or international relations or peacekeeping helps me in my day to day work. But yes, it is what makes me me. So all that I learned during my schooling, college, postgrad years is what defines me. And I'm able to do what I'm able to do because of who I am. And education is a very important part of that.
Exactly, that was so true. Like, education actually puts a plus one to the things that you are doing. It can be in any way. So, it's always a plus one to your work and the career that you are doing. Now, moving with all the amazing conversation, I would love to know that, like, when it comes to your own thing, the startup, NGO, or anything, there's always family support. So, would love to know how was it, your family was supporting it. If yes, then how it helped you in your whole career growth. Yeah.
So, my family has been a vital part of the entire Wishes and Blessings journey. Incidentally, when I first started, I did get a lot of raised eyebrows from my immediate family who didn't quite understand why I was leaving a well accomplished career, why was I choosing something that I had no experience in, and why was I actually letting go of a whole lot of perks that I enjoyed. But I think soon after, when they saw how happy my work made me, they came to terms with it, and ever since, there's been no looking back. My parents deserve a special mention here. My father was instrumental in getting all the paperwork done, right from the registrations to the ATGs to the taxation work. My mother's always been a pillar of support. My brothers helped me wherever I could. My husband, stands with me whenever needed. Um, and the entire family, not just my immediate core family, but friends and family friends, everybody stood by, whether it meant by means of volunteering when there was a shortage of volunteers when we first started, or by means of donations when we first needed them, or just promoting the NGO by word of mouth. And I think wishes and blessings is what it is today because of all this support. And I think the journey would have been absolutely incomplete with any one of them missing.
Exactly, that was so true. The family support is something which is very much vital and helps you in your growth as well. Now, moving with that, I would love to know that how you are managing all these things, as we know that it's across like more than 15. We know that when it comes to Delhi NCR, you have currently 15 centers. So how are you able to manage all those? Do you used to visit it every day, or what's the whole management process that you used to
Okay, I'd like to correct you here. Pre-COVID, we had over 20 centers in Delhi, but
okay.
post-COVID, we had to shut down few, remove support from few and merge few. So as of today, as we speak, we have over 20 centers across 8 states in India. And field work is something I love doing, but of late I don't find too much time to do that. So every now and then, every time I can squeeze in a visit, I'll try and do that, especially to the old age homes, both in Delhi and Vrindavan, to the daycare centers where we, train street children to be school ready. We've recently just launched a skill development center where we train, girls from underprivileged background in sewing. So every chance that I get, I grab and I go to the field. But yes, I would love to go much more often than I currently do. And I think time management is something that I'm still learning and, fighting with.
I can totally feel that. So, with that note, before concluding the podcast, I would love to know, like, any three advices that you would be happy to provide to our listeners if they are willing to get start their journey with NGOs, not actually just as founders, but also as volunteers if they want to contribute. So, any three advices for them?
I don't think I'm anybody to give advice to anybody. Yes, I can share my experience, and if you can learn from my experience, nothing would make me as happy. All that I'd say to anybody, not just for a career in social work or in the NGO sector, anywhere you are, my mantra has been clear: follow your heart, but remember to take your brain along. This is something I tell to anybody who wants to know something about me and learn something from my experiences. And I feel that, the synchronization and the balance between the brain and the mind will definitely take you on the right path.
That was fabulous. Thanks a lot, Dr. Geetanjali, for joining us today for the podcast. It was really great hosting you. And also, I have added her socials in the description. You can have a look, and don't forget to connect with her, because it would be really great for you as well if you could have a conversation and grab amazing learnings from her. With that note, thank you so much, and it was really great having you for today's podcast.
Thank you, Chavi. You're a great host and wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. For that note, stay tuned for our upcoming podcast. Goodbye.